Bienvenido, everybody, to a new special series of My Surrogacy Journeys podcast, Mexico City edition, season 2, guiding American intended parents through surrogacy in Mexico City.
That's it, Jess.
My goodness. How are you guys?
We're good. I'm Wes. I'm your other host today on our My Surrogacy Journey, the podcast. Oh, I've got it all wrong there. I know there. So it's our Mexico City edition of My Surrogacy Journey, the podcast for US intended parents.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Season 3, can we have like a really short title?
Yes. Yeah. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Ask me to say it, please. And I am your other host. I am Michael. I'm married to Wes, and I am the other co-founder of My Surrogacy Journey. So welcome. I'm looking forward to this particular episode. It's going to be a good one.
Yes, and I am Jess. I am a mom through surrogacy, and I'm MSJ's membership manager for all the American intended parents coming to beautiful Mexico City for their journey.
You are. We're so delighted to have you in Mexico City. It's great for you to be here recording this.
In Mexico City, visiting MSJ? Yes.
First thoughts?
Oh my gosh.
Isn't it?
Gorgeous.
I know.
First of many.
Yes.
First of many,
hopefully.
Yeah, you're going to be a bit busy.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I've like a lot of Americans, I've been to other parts of Mexico and absolutely love coming to Mexico. Like the culture, the people, the food are absolutely beautiful. But yeah, first time in Mexico City, and I'm having a really hard time staring this way because all I want to be doing is looking behind us.
Look at that.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, you won't be able to see the view. But if you are watching on YouTube, I mean, yeah, just look past us, behind us.
Phenomenal. It really is.
It's a great backdrop. We recorded all of our other seasons here and, with that backdrop, and we just wanted to make sure we had that consistent approach, but it's also an excuse to get you out to Mexico City and get this podcast recorded.
I'm in. Let's record a whole, as we record season 4 American intended parents, and that's where we're in. Yeah. And these are our offices. So we're in our offices in the heart of Polanco in Mexico City.
Which is beautiful and even bougier than I thought it was going to be.
Cool.
Walking to the offices this morning, I was like, I can't even go shopping here because I can afford to window shop. It's like Louis Vuitton, Prada.
It's like
gorgeous.
It is. But let's talk about this specific episode and what it's really designed to do. So this particular episode is about choosing a program, agency red flags, and social media. There's a lot of things, a lot of components there, and there are a lot of people who use some of these different mediums or locations to try and find information and resource to help them understand what's the best path for them. And I think
talking things like Reddit and
Facebook and
social media platforms, and forums essentially.
Yeah, and then also this episode is really designed to equip you, give you all of the tools, the skills, the knowledge, the confidence to be able to know what questions to ask, what things to consider, but also give you the ability and the confidence to challenge. And also, what are some of those things that you should be asking? What are those golden questions that are really going to give you an indication of if there are any red flags? And what does a red flag look like, and how does it manifest itself, and all of those things?
And I would say, from certainly my point, from having been on 2 surrogacy journeys, he was in the UK, and now we're embarking on a Mexico journey as well. Like when something doesn't feel right, for me, that's a red flag. That feeling like, oh God, not quite sure how I feel about this.
Oh yeah, something's just holding you back. Some things just like it just doesn't feel like. And I also, to caveat that, but when it feels right, you know that feeling, right? You know that nothing internally is ringing alarm bells.
Yeah, absolutely. So for intended parents, I mean, this is obviously a huge undertaking in terms of emotions, in terms of cost, in terms of time. And everybody's obviously coming to surrogacy for a different reason, whether that's because they've been through an infertility journey themselves, whether they are in a same-sex relationship, but it's probably something that is a little bit outside of everybody's comfort zone. So how should intended parents start their research? What's a good first step?
I think it's about understanding your timelines, understanding the components that are important to you. Because, ultimately, when you do start talking to people about your journey, like organizations like ours, they are going to ask you lots of questions about those things, right? And that's how you start determining whether they can meet. So if you know what you're looking for and you know what your timelines are,
timelines and budget, would you say?
Yeah, but they do, and location,
Yes.
And I think if you know that, then you're better armed and equipped to be able to ask the questions that you need to know whether this is the right agency for you or if this is the right clinic. Or I think understanding what you're trying to achieve and really being clear. And if you're doing it with a partner, making sure you're aligned.
Yes.
And you've had some of those conversations, because sometimes people arrive at surrogacy really unexpectedly, and they might not have had time to process it. And that would be my kind of advice, is like, understand what you're trying to achieve, because that's one of the first things as an agency we ask you, because we want to understand what are all of the components we're going to have to try and help you manage.
Yeah, what and how. I think. Yeah.
For sure. And then quite often we start on Google or whatever search engine we dive into, and that,
or Reddit or Facebook, or
that can often be the source that will spiral you, or the source that will give you information that isn't accurate, correct, or where is the source of this information.
And I think what I would be mindful of with Google is that often, like, we all know that you might search something and it automatically, because of sponsored ads with Google, it will automatically play something in front of you which you think you've searched for, but it's not the resource you're looking for. And sometimes you can go into it thinking it's what you're looking for, and it's not. And it's not only a time waster, but it can give you inaccurate information. So I would, if you are looking at Google as a first place, is just be really specific about what you're looking at. And I'm not saying don't look at the sponsored ones, but you can clearly see which are sponsored. And often underneath them, those are your search results that are tailored to what you want. But be very specific about what you're looking for. And if you are looking for surrogacy in Mexico, search that, but you will also get lots of other search results that aren't relevant to what you've asked.
So what are some kind of reliable sources of information that intended parents can feel is truthful and accurate? And
it's really tricky, Jess.
It is a really tricky.
If you look at the UK, for example, where our organisation started, we are a UK government accredited surrogacy organisation, one of only 4. So that's a really credible source to go to for a lot of intended parents.
And we're also recommended by the fertility regulator in the UK. So when you go onto that website on the UK, the HFEA, they recommend these agencies. So that they meet a certain standard for them to be able to be recommending them. Now, that's more difficult outside of a regulated framework like we have in the UK. So you have, do you know what I mean? It's difficult because that regulatory framework doesn't exist. So you can't get those credible recommendations. So you do have to kind of go in it with your eyes wide open and really ask the questions. And that's the thing that I would often recommend to people, is like, do your due diligence on those agencies. So if you are shortlisting agencies and you're thinking about it, look at some research, look at reviews, look at all of the components. But
look at their check out their website, check out like I say, reviews. Look at the team. Is that a team that you can feel that they're going to support you? Are you seen in this particular organization's marketing information? Are you present there? Can they look after you? Is having a clinical team and a clinical focus important to you? Because some people it is, some people it isn't.
And where are they based? Do they speak your language? Can you see an AI presence that doesn't feel like there's someone there? And I know that's getting more and more hard now with the AI developments, but it's about really kind of connecting to them. How do you make contact with them? How quickly do they respond? What are the functionality around? Because my view is any agency that you work with or potentially work with, they should make it easy to find resource. They should be transparent around pricing. It shouldn't be difficult to find the information you want. And if it is difficult to find the information you want, then you might want to ask yourself why.
Because to flag it itself.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Very clear from the very beginning when My Surrogacy Journey was first established in 2021, the pricing would always be present on our website.
And in our information packs.
The transparency there of how we are structured and where that pricing has come from has always been in the public domain.
And what's included and what's not included, because I think that can be something that a lot of agencies tend to hide or obfuscate, is just, this is included, but maybe in the small.
Well, I think the problem is that sometimes they use a hook.
Yes.
So often it's like relatively affordable pricing, which piques everyone's interest and totally understandably. Yeah. But then when you actually start to look at the detail, there's lots of things excluded, which they know you're going to need, and they're essential parts of a journey.
And these are big ticket items. These are not like $100 for this, $200 for that.
They are.
There's several
but the problem is that their whole focus is around they're hooking you in by the pricing. And, my view is, and the advice I give to intended parents is we should always be looking at apples for apples. So the pricing should always be comparable. And I think sometimes we look more expensive than other competitors within the Mexican market. And I accept that. But ultimately, we're very transparent about the pricing. So anything you need on your journey, which is an essential, it's included in the pricing. We also are very transparent about any additional costs that we can't predict that they may be needed, not in all cases. So we show what they are, but we also show what the pricing is, so you can understand what the financial risk is in those elements when you're making a decision about your journey. Because any journey, we should always be looking at what the total cost is, but we should always be thinking about what are some of those risks that could happen and what's the financial impact of that, so that and can afford the potential of a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, you guys have done your own journeys, both back in the UK and now in Mexico City. And you also have this amazing surrogacy agency. For intended parents who are looking at agencies, if you could give them like your top 3 recommendations of things to look out for, things to look for, positive and, green flags and red flags, what would those be?
My first one would be...
He's going to take on mine now.
I'm going to do one.
Just one.
Just one. Would be, can I come and sit down and have a coffee with the team and go through the journey? Because it's an overwhelming journey. I want to sit down with someone and just come and see, feel, touch the operation. For me, that's really important, because our business is built on people, and I could not think of anything worse than doing a journey if that presence was not here.
Yeah.
For me.
That's a good one.
Where's
legal entity, having accountability, having a presence, and being able to manage the partners, a Mexican legal entity, or just where, this is not just specific to Mexico, but where the agency operate, in the country they operate, they have a legal entity, they have legal accountability, they have people on the ground, they have the resource, the network to be able to react if there's a problem. I can think of anything worse. You've got intended parents in country, something doesn't go to plan and there's no one there to support them, right? Or they're arriving in a country that they maybe haven't been into before and they're having to navigate through the whole journey on their own. That's just like...
You can give the next one then. What would you do?
Oh my God.
What would be your... So that's number 1, number 2, number 3.
Oh no. To me, it's all about the ethics. I think the ethical considerations, especially when you are working in a different country with people that you might not necessarily be able to speak the same language, having that security and certainty that everything is being done ethically, that nobody is being harmed by this, that everybody has choice and agency in what they're doing, and whether that's, intended parents, absolutely, but surrogates, egg donors, the staff. So I think for me, making sure that you feel comfortable with the ethics and the ethical policies.
Yeah, and that everyone's been advocated for, and that everyone's been considered.
Yes.
Everyone has a voice. Yeah. Everyone has choice. Choice is really important to us.
Yes.
It's.
I could probably name one more.
I've got one more.
Okay, I'm going to do.
Okay, go for it.
So we'll do 5.
Okay, that's fine.
It comes back to choice, and when embarking on a cross-border or an international journey, we have personal experience in this. For me and Wes, we're doing an international journey. What's really important is the person who is carrying our child. I want to really know that she is not being exploited.
Absolutely.
Ethics. But most importantly, I want to know that her body autonomy is being really respected, because unfortunately, what you see here, which is really sad, is that surrogates by some agencies have that choice taken away from them. You know, you will have a cesarean, you will do this, and that's wrong. Vulgar.
It's just wrong.
You know? And we call that out. You and I have, you know, sometimes got into trouble for being vocal about this, but this is, you know, this is a culture that we have a lot of respect for, and as women and people, we have so much respect for.
Yeah.
Seeing their body autonomy rights taken away because they're a surrogate is disgusting.
Absolutely.
No, it is, but it's about how do we, the surrogates we work with, how do we show that we are going to empower them, we're going to enable them, we're going to support them so that they never have to worry about decisions that don't feel right for them. We're always going to listen to them, and our team are exactly the same, our partners are exactly the same. Again, it goes with our, you know, guiding principle, everyone is equal, everyone deserves that element.
What was your...
My question was, my answer was that any agency you work with should really easily be able to answer any question you ask them. There should be no, oh, I'll come back to you on that, or I'm not quite sure about that. There might be some specifics relevant to their journey or their like immigration status. That's where I would say, look, I can't answer that right now.
Cool,
but we'll come back to you and give you an answer on that. But it's very specific. But anything to do with their program, how it's accessible, the partners they work with, how the surrogates are supported and are managed, they should be able to answer all of those questions really confidently. And if they can't, or they can't give you the answer you're looking for, they can't give you a kind of a response, then for me, that's a red flag. Yeah. You know, they should absolutely have the confidence to be able to do that.
Yeah. Cool. No, I think those are great and so important for intended parents to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Out of all the 10,000 other questions that they're going to have.
And there's more, you know, there'll be some more little nuggets coming out of this, I'm sure.
There is.
There's plenty of others.
Exactly. So speaking of those questions, I mean, obviously we've just kind of talked about the 5 most important factors. Are there any very specific questions that you think that American intended parents should be asking agencies in Mexico?
Yeah, so a big one, and I know we've covered it on other episodes, and legal strategy.
Yeah.
How do they follow? What's their legal strategy for ensuring that everyone is protected? Mm-hmm. How do they? What's their relationship with the lawyers that they work with? You know, because what you sometimes see is that the agency own the law firm,
and that's just not cool.
No. It's not cool because they're not independent.
Such a conflict of interest.
Totally.
And there are lawyers in other jurisdictions that will not put up with that. You know, we've been in situations where we've seen, whether it's Ireland or the UK, that is a massive conflict.
Yeah. And that's what I would be saying. So, like partners, who are the partners that you work with? Because we have to work with partners. We need to. We can't provide all of those services. When we're not a doctor, we're not a clinic, we're not lawyers, and we won't be lawyers. But there are certain elements of the journey or components that need partners. So, what's your relationship with the partners? Are you getting any kind of referral fee? Are you
commercial arrangement?
Yeah.
And again, in the interest of transparency, people shouldn't be just telling you that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's.
And if they're not, they've got something to hide, because ultimately, if they are taking referral fees, they're getting a commercial benefit from that partner they're working with. Yeah. But often, that partner, to recoup that, is adding that onto the fees that you're paying. Absolutely. So it's just not how we work. It's just not how we work. So there's that element as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think for me, the legal element's such a big one for me, particularly for American parents working here. You know, making sure that who's their lawyer going to be in Mexico City, who is their lawyer going to be in the U.S., but also kind of, you know, tagging on to that is that included? Like, you know, It shouldn't all be about cost, right?
No.
Because costs should be roughly similar, but they are variable. And in a lot of cases, you get what you pay for. But actually understanding the cost structure of that particular program, what's included and what's not included. And for me, something like that legal advice, that independent legal advice, and particularly for cross-border surrogacy, having it in country and in your home country, is so important.
It is. You know, we always advocate for making sure you are legally prepared in the country where the surrogacy journey is going to happen, but also where you're returning to. And all of that should be done at the start of the journey, so you understand what you're dealing with. there's no surprises. Look, our program is all about no surprises, right? It's about everything considered and giving you the advice to get the correct advice from the correct professionals. Now, we will say, look, you don't have to use our partners. Like, we don't force you to, because choice is a guiding principle for us, but we've done all of the legwork to put you in. We've done all the due diligence, but we're going to connect you with the professionals who are experienced in the jurisdiction that's where it's happening, their experience, where you're going to return to. So you're going to get the best advice. But if you already work with a family lawyer in the US and you want to use that and you're more comfortable, then that's great. We'll work with them.
But have the advice, and the fact that you're doing that from the get-go fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's about not only about having that choice, but also understanding where those cost gaps are.
Correct.
And so if the sticking on legals, if legal fees aren't included in the program that you're looking at, well, what are those legal fees going to be in order for you to be able to have your child get the correct parentage safely and securely, and
you're prepared for it, and you know what it is
for it. And likewise, if you are looking at a program where you need to transport your embryos to Mexico City, is that included in the cost? Is that going to be additional? Who are they going to be working with? So for me, it's that figuring out what's included, what's not included.
So important.
And if it's not included, who are they recommending? How are they, are they bumping up those prices, as you said?
Correct.
That's really important.
And one of the things that you just mentioned, and I'll just pick up on it, is like, so transporting embryos, like, yes, we know there's a cost and we include it, but it's also, we know that there's quite likely to be a cost for the clinic in the US to facilitate the export. Now, if they haven't been told about that, they're not budgeting it in. Now, we're very transparent. We don't include it because we don't know what clinics they're going to work with, but we're saying there's likely to be a cost. Speak to your clinic and find out what that is before you make sure that it's the right thing for you. There's lots and lots of different components, but
those are all some great questions, and there's obviously 1,000 more questions that intended parents should and could be asking. Now, kind of going back to what we were talking about before, starting the research, finding agencies. Obviously, a lot of agencies have to advertise, right? They have websites, they have social media accounts. I mean,
and some of them look so promising, and I one of my roles here at My Surrogacy Journey is that, that's the area of business that I look after for our global businesses. And I am sometimes led down a bit of a hole where I'm like, oh my God, this looks good. And then you start lifting that lid again, and you're like, oh my God, this is, the pressure sales of then starting the guaranteed baby programs, these terms, which for me,
Black Friday deals.
Pay up front and you'll save $10,000.
This is
all red flag.
This
is red flag, and it's risk, right? That's how you should be looking at it, right? Risk.
And it is just, we often overlook the vulnerability of intended parents, and the fact that some of these people may be cash rich or may be desperate for a family, or
maybe want to move quickly, and then they take advantage of that desire to move quickly.
And these Black Friday deals and these
buy one get one free.
I've seen that.
I have. Buy one get one free.
Disgusting. Absolutely. And this is why often what we do can be criticised. So we have to. That has to stop. This is just gross. At the core of this is a child, and a person and a woman who was, doing the most incredible thing.
Absolutely.
Let's not
cheapen it.
It's disgusting. No, right? It's just gross.
It is.
Those high pressure techniques and sales techniques. Just not for me.
And then that's the thing is like be careful about like moving over and trying to paying up front big amounts of money to get a discount. That should never be.
The pricing's going to increase.
No, it should never. And also, like, all of us that do consultations, like, take your time, process. Like, when you're ready. And it should always be at your pace, right? This is a very emotionally charged decision. There's lots of components, lots of dynamics at play, and process. Look, we get a lot of people want to move quick, but you can still do that without taking some of these risks. You shouldn't be paying.
Don't compromise your own. Your own integrity, your own timeline, just because
to get it over the line. One of the things, and this was purposeful, is that we stage a lot of our payments because we've got to be accountable, right? So a lot of people, a lot of agencies, you have to pay everything up front to start. They have then no incentive to keep your journey moving, and you often see the momentum slow down. We stage all of our payments all the way through because we're incentivized to keep your journey moving, but also that's the right thing to do because but we've got to we recognize how important finances play in this journey, and sometimes staggering the payments makes it a lot more accessible to people, and for some people it can be the difference between being able to do it or not.
And one thing that I'd love for you guys to talk about a little bit, and I think it's particularly important for American intended parents who might be, if you're doing an American journey, you're probably used to the idea of escrow and putting all of your money and particularly your surrogate's compensation into an escrow account. Now, that's not how we do things. So can you guys talk a little bit about that and also how it then plays into this broader idea of ethics and making sure that, we as an agency are not siphoning money.
No,
Totally.
That's really bad press that a lot of Mexican agencies have gotten.
And we very much encourage, and the only way that you will pay your compensation to your surrogate is directly to them. We are not a middleman in that process. You have full direct access. You have your own WhatsApp group with just you and your surrogate. We encourage direct contact, and again,
it's part of the court process, though. It's you have to pay the surrogate direct.
But we know that doesn't happen. We know that there are agencies that don't allow direct contact with surrogate, and again, I'm
talking about a huge red flag.
That is just growth.
That you have one opportunity to talk to her per trimester.
Yeah, but just on your question, Jess, there's no escrow facility in Mexico. It doesn't exist. The banking system doesn't allow it. It's not possible. But also, let's just caveat this, right? Escrow is not the silver bullet, right? Look, as we've seen, there's been escrow scandals in years. People have lost lots and lots of money. People's journeys have stopped. So look, I'm not saying I'm against escrow. I'm very for structures to support everyone and give you that reassurance. But ultimately, as an organisation, I don't want to take all of your money up front and then not be able to sustain your journey, which is why we stagger it. And again, that's our responsibility about taking accountability for it, but also it's staggered so that it's more financially accessible and those elements. But ultimately, all of the payments and the structure we do, we give everyone very clear transparency and visibility about what the financial commitments are. We have a monthly cost breakdown sheet which shows for the duration of your journey what your typical journey looks like and what your financial commitment is month by month, so then you can plan for it.
And that's a good question to ask other agencies. Get this level of detail.
Understand what the financial commitment is when the payments are scheduled, and you should who you're paying. Yes, we as an agency, we provide an overall breakdown of the entirety of the journey. We also make it really clear who those payments are made. We don't take the entire amount. We only take the elements that we do, and we show you who else payments are made to. And we like that because then every other part or component or partner that you're working with, you have to contract with them. They're legally accountable for the services they provide, and then again it's just more certainty. And we really don't think people should be paying large sums of the entirety of their journey up front to an agency, because that's a massive risk.
And
hold on to your money for as long as you can.
If that's something you're not comfortable or you can't afford to do at that point, then have that conversation with your agency. If your agency support that and are willing to bend and flex, that's the agency for you.
It is, and some agencies, they you have to pay their whole agency fee to start the matching process. And then once you've paid it, they then just kind of lose interest in the moving you forward. We structure it in a way that you start with us. There's a stage one payment, and then to start that process. And then once you're matched with your surrogate in the time frame that we say you're going to do, and you're confirmed a match of a fully screened surrogate, then we look at the stage two payment, because then we've done our bit and we've been incentivized to move everyone through the journey. Let's talk about some of the social media, the groups, like Reddit, Facebook, all those things. The thing that stands out for me massively in these areas is that often there are people in there who are
incentivized.
Well, they're potentially intended parents who have been through a journey, so it's very credible, but they're secretly or unknowingly working for organisations that they might have done the journey with, and they are either on the payroll or they are getting a referral for that intended parent. So they may seem like they are genuinely trying to help you understand what your options are. And look at the caveat, there are people out there that do that who are genuinely trying to help and not connected. But I would just be really cautious.
And even if they are, it's not necessarily a bad thing if they're not trying to hide it.
Correct.
I think for me, it's all about that transparency and honesty. If you have been through a journey somewhere and you say, this is my experience,
Yeah.
then you can, then you have that framework.
Of course.
But if you're getting $3,000 for referring then a set of intended parents to that agency,
No.
disclose that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you often see, you might dive into a particular Reddit group or a Facebook group, and there's an unusually high amount of this agency. You think, wow, God, there's like 15 people in this group
Yeah.
that love this agency. Be cautious of that.
Yeah, that might be where.
And we're not saying don't listen to them. Yeah, we're not saying don't listen to them. Their advice might be really, really, well founded, but or very well intended, but. Just again, eyes wide open, ask the questions. Are you working for this? Are you being incentivized by them? Are you impartial? Just like call them out, and don't be frightened and have the confidence to do that. I would also say that if people are really trying hard as well to keep in contact with you and trying to introduce you to speak to someone, that should be a bit of it. It should never be that. It should never be forced.
Yes,
and
very forceful.
Yeah, what makes us really unique is how we let our members take their time and do their research and come back when you're ready. That's very much our ethos. And pressure sales is just must be gross. And you do see that a lot in social media groups. You do see that in certain threads, in certain Reddit groups. I've seen it myself. Just be really careful.
And also about how accurate is some of the information you're seeing, because what I have seen about Mexico is very, very clearly about leaving the surrogate on the birth certificate, very clearly about you can be some agencies saying, well, we can have you out in a week. Like that's not reality, and don't be brought
and even
in.
if it is reality, it's not right.
It is, and again, it's just about questioning everything and never taking anything at face value. Just giving it a stress test. What is your stress test? If you're seeing what looks like to be an amazing deal, too good to be true, we all know the saying, right? Yeah. It always is, right?
It is. Listen to the gut.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
I knew this was going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I knew this.
I feel like there's bits we haven't picked up, and I'm like,
I'm sure there is, but if we covered everything in all of our cumulative experience, we would be here all day. And to be honest, I want to go try some food. So
tacos.
I think it's time. But I really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. It's one that is really popular in our first season. You can feel free to check back there as well. Any particular standout points, Wes? What did you like from today?
For me, it's about having the confidence to be able to challenge, because I think a lot of people don't, and I think it is about arming yourself and equipping yourself with the knowledge. And our podcast series would be a great place to do that if you are specifically thinking about Mexico. So it is, find the resource, find the people, and arm yourselves and ask questions. And don't be frightened to ask questions. That is my have the confidence.
Absolutely, 100%. I think I really loved hearing what everybody's kind of top elements were, top factors, because I think when you're going into this, again, whatever reason you're coming to surrogacy, it's so overwhelming and it's hard to know where to separate what things to look out for, what things not to. And, I hope that through our own experience as intended parents, as people who have worked in the surrogacy industry and the global surrogacy industry for a few years, it's just, it was helpful. And for me, it was really educating as well.
Yeah. Cool. Love it. Love this episode. I knew this was going to be a good one. Okay. So don't forget there's another episode available. Whether you're listening to this via our app, via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, or our YouTube channel, there's still time to get another fix. If you are watching this on YouTube and you are looking at this phenomenal background, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you can stay updated with more podcasts like this.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I really did. I think there's some really key points in there. Remember, if you need more information about our products and our services, you can head over to our website, which is mysurrogacyjourney.com. You can go onto our socials, which are, Michael?
Oh, wowzers. Threw that one at me. So My Surrogacy Journey USA. No. So My Surrogacy Journey _USA is our Instagram, or you can follow our main global socials which are all found on our website too, which is official My Surrogacy Journey.
And don't forget the Mexico team. Mexico City has its own Instagram as well, which I love. 'Cause I love seeing what all of our team here is doing.
We should put more of some of that stuff on the US one so people can see what's going on in country as well.
So feel free to follow that My Surrogacy Journey _MX.
And if you want to talk to us about your family building options and you want to book a consultation to really talk about the detail, you'll be talking to an amazing Jess. You can do that through our website on Book a Consultation. It's really easy to navigate through, and it really makes it easy to set it up so that you can get some time specifically. And we do not charge for our consultations. We do them for free because people need advice.
Yes, absolutely. And I cannot wait to speak to each and every one of you who thinks that My Surrogacy Journey might be the right agency for you.
Come and talk to us.
So thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. We loved kind of sharing all of this with you, and we really hope you enjoyed it and you feel more educated and more prepared as you start to...
And confident.
And that you have the confidence that you are able to make those decisions and figure out what is right
empowered
for you and your family. So again, don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to leave a review if you found this helpful. Until next time, hasta luego.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.